Welcome, it's Domain Dave from CheapWineFinder.com again with the last wine podcast of 2021. Adios, good riddance, and on to 2022. And I was going to do another sparkling wine review, just the last one before New Year's, and sparkling wines have been kind of boring this year. There's a shortage of champagne. There's no really new bubbly coming out. Everything's exactly the same as it was last year. And you know, every November, December, we try to focus on sparkling wines, bubbly, but they're non-vintage wines for the most part, so they're the same year in, year out. So I could go back and redo some, but nah. So what we got this time is a kind of an oddity for Trader Joe's. Back to Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's Diamond Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon, Stag's Leap District, to get it right, Napa Valley 2020. $19.99. I avoided this one first because it's $19.99. It's like, what are they selling that for? Until we did the Trader Joe's Reserve Sonoma County Cabernet Sauvignon. It's on the website, CheapWineFinder.com, and that one turned out that because of COVID, restaurants weren't buying wine. And this was a restaurant wine that the producer, who had a great reputation, rather than sell it off cheaply, sold it to Trader Joe's hush-hush. And you got a $9.99 wine that was maybe somewhere in the $20 to $30 range, and then at restaurants, $40 to $50 range. So this one intrigued me, and I looked at the Diamond Reserve, and Diamond Reserves are the top of the heap for Trader Joe's wines. They're the super secret. They're not telling who's who, and there's a story behind this wine, and it's why it's $19.99 and why $19.99 is cheap. There was, like there have been in the last few years, fires in California, and this time around harvest. And the Stag's Leap District had smoke damage and fires. I think there was like 20-something wineries that literally burned to the ground. And it happened just before harvest. They had to decide to pick the grapes, and they sent the chemistry for, did it have smoke taint? Is there damage? And it was going to take a couple of weeks for it to come back, but it was time to pick the grapes. You either had to pick them or drop them. I mean, every so often something bad happens in a vineyard, and they just, rather than pick the grapes and put them, take them to the winery, they let them drop to the ground, and they're fertilizer for next year. And before they decided if it was going to be smoke damaged or not, it was still up in the air. Trader Joe's came in and bought the entire vineyard worth, the entire harvest of that vineyard. Some snazzy, upscale, that's the only type there is in Stag's Leap. And they bought it without knowing, and there's a reason why they can get away with that. The grapes didn't have obvious smoke damage. I mean, but that's good. But for the kind of wineries that use this vineyard, they made age-worthy wine, and what happens is sometimes what doesn't show up at first will show up in 5 years, show up in 10 years. And when you're making $250 age-worthy wines and you're selling someone wine you said it's going to be great in 20 years and it comes out ruined because of smoke, yeah, you just killed your reputation that you took 20, 30, 40, 50 more years of work to build up. Trader Joe's didn't have that because this is a 2020. It's a little bit young. There are 2020 Stag Leap wines out there, usually in the $35 to $45 range, and that for that younger wines, which means it's kind of in the drink it now style, which makes a lot of sense because if you have possibility of smoke taint, smoke damage, but it's not obvious smoke damage, well, then the thing to do is drink it before the possible damage shows up, which is what they're doing, because you're not going to put this away. I mean, or you could, because if you want to see if it'll age for a while, though I'm not sure if they made it in the same way that the original winery would have made it. I'm going to take a sip. I mean, this is, like they said, there are $250 wines that come from this vineyard. Though those winemakers didn't make that wine, not to say that the winemaker who made it was bad, and they might not have made it in the exact same way as the $250 wines, because it's not going to be a $250 wine. There is, when you're making a wine to put away for 15 years, you don't make it the exact same way you're going to do it to drink it now. There's no need to do that. You make wine to fit the purpose. So this is a unique wine. This is a 1999 Drink It Now Trader Joe's wine from one of the best vineyards in Stag's Leap in Napa. You don't find this kind of wine. This is more unique than a $250 absolute real Stag's Leap Napa Cabernet. I mean, there's a bunch of those out there. There's only one that's 1999 and made in a more Drink It Now style. This is unique. You cannot get this wine anywhere else. This is one of a kind. And it's if you don't drink it now, if you don't decide, hey, I'm going to give it a try, you're not going to get another shot at it. And it's the French always talk about terroir. It's the vineyard. It's the people's relationship with the vineyard. It's of a place. Well, this is a Trader Joe's under $20 a penny, under $20 wine that's got terroir. It's got another thing they always say, that the great wines are made in the vineyard. Well, this is from a great vineyard. Yeah, there might be some smoke taint, but it's not going to affect us because it's not obvious smoke taint. And if it shows up in 10 years, well, why haven't you drunk it by then? Because this is a Drink It Now wine. It might go 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. These kind of wines might have a little bit of length to them. But you're better off just drinking them, especially with the thought that it might be there, that the smoke damage might show up at some point. So there you go. I got to figure that these kind of wines are going to start happening next year. Should have happened already, but COVID kind of messed up the supply chain. There's a lot of these things were restaurant wines who didn't get sold to restaurants, and people who sold off, who need to sell wine off because they had a bad 2020 and they have to, generate some cash. I think 2022, the first part's going to be pretty interesting for wine, because the supply chain problems seem to work their way out a little bit. So 2022 sounds like it's going to look good. And if you're looking for a fancy wine for New Year's Eve and bubbly is kind of boring, yeah, this is a unique wine you're not going to find anywhere else. So Happy New Year. See you next year. And stay safe, stay warm, and stay healthy. And I'll be talking to everybody. So adios. Dave from cheapwinefinder.com. I forgot who I was and where I'm from. So adios. Bye-bye. See you next year.